going on, Dream Starters? Hey, I just want to do a Facebook Live here and help people out who are looking to write their own book and teach them a little bit about how the power of your story is really the way to connect with a lot of people out there. The reason why you have Billy the Kid playing in the background here is because, yes, he was this famous gunslinger from 1881, but really what made him successful in the eyes of the public was the writers. You know, we had newspaper people who were writing about him because they were trying to sell newspapers. And in 1920, it started getting picked up by authors, and they started writing books about him. In 1940, they started making movies of him. And that solidified his name as one of the most popular people from the Wild Wild West. And it all came back to the power of writing. If your story resonates with somebody else out there, you're able to gain their attention. And if you can gain their attention, you're able to offer them a service or help them out in one way or another. So story is crucial no matter who you are. People who are really successful, Anthony Robbins, you see Elon Musk, you see all the great leaders out there, storytellers like Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan, Van Morrison. I don't know if you guys, Marsha, what's going on? I don't know if any of you like any of those people, but all they are is storytellers. Oprah Winfrey, great storyteller. That's all they do. And if you could tell your story great, you can inspire others to tell their story. And that's the key, is that your story is a way and a conduit and a gateway to helping others, which is what makes you valuable in the end. And give you a little backstory of me. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and my dad was a heating and air conditioning guy. And so he was one of those guys that could fix anything, whether it's cars, motorcycles, whatever it is, heating and air conditioning, this guy could fix it. And what he taught me was resourcefulness. And maybe we didn't have a lot of money growing up, but he was able to find something that people were throwing away or they couldn't get a dirt bike working. And he was able to fix that dirt bike or those motorcycles and get them running and give it to us. And so we could have something. And he was very resourceful, and I do think that I got all my resourcefulness from him, no matter what it is. What's going on, Marsha? And I believe that resourcefulness is the key to an entrepreneur's success. And the ultimate resource for an individual is not money, it's not connections, it's your story. If you have an incredible, deep-rooted, difficult, hard to even believe type of story, you're going to resonate with a lot of people out there because they'll say to themselves, well, I didn't have it that bad. This person did it. I can do it then. So you see Anthony Robbins at every one of his events, he actually talks about how on Thanksgiving, whenever he was a kid, people would come and bring his family groceries and how embarrassing that was and how difficult that was for other people to have to rely on. And who else is on there? And that's the thing is, he tells that story because by the end of that event or by the end of that story, his story becomes their story. And they're connected now. And now he has their attention. Bruce Springsteen became really big in the 70s and 80s because he would write stories about factory workers. If you read about Sting, Sting became really successful because he grew up in this shipyard and had a really difficult life. So when he broke out in 1977, he started writing songs with the Police, becoming really, really popular. What's going on, William? And so Sting became really successful. And after a couple years of success, he had hit writer's block. And the reason why is because his success now, he wasn't great at writing his own story. He was great at writing other people's stories, their journeys, their adventures, their struggles. And so if you become a great storyteller, whether it's your own life or somebody else's, you're able to become a great communicator, which you can become a good leader in your community. But I wrote a book called Dream Starter, the Startup Business Guide for the Die-Hard Entrepreneur. And I talk about how entrepreneurs, in order to gain an audience, should write their own book. Whether it's going to be to establish credibility, gain trust, build an audience, the book is the key to getting speaking gigs, getting clients, and to getting noticed. I don't think you need to become a millionaire to write a book. I think you should just have the courage to write your own story. And by giving this book out to many different people, the right people will read it and say, okay, I've been through something like this person. Let me learn a little bit about this person's life. I like what they're saying. I trust them a little bit more. And now I'll watch their Facebook Lives. I'll watch their videos. I'll go and read more of their books. I'll go and see them at that seminar. And it just keeps snowballing. And the more you keep doing it, the better you become at telling your story, the more people are going to find you. What's going on, Thon? And so there's a saying out there: the person who tells their story the most times will win. I truly believe that. You'll see a guy named Lloyd Williamson. I don't know if you're familiar. Lloyd Williams out there. He's a MLM, the doctor of multi-level marketing. And he has a book about that. He has a book that's coming out here very soon. And he believes in going to all these seminars in El Paso. He's in El Paso. And he talks in front of many different people about his own life journey. And it's incredible that he believes that every day or every couple days, by telling his story in front of 150 people, maybe 10 people will resonate with it and join his community, because that's the type of culture that he's creating. What's going on, Cedric? Cedric is another man who tells his story all the time. Person who tells their story the most times wins. Whether it's in a book, whether it's on video, whether it's in a song, whether it's at speaking seminars, that's the key, is to tell your story. And the reason why Billy the Kid is playing anybody out there is because the power of writing. Billy the Kid became successful because, he stood up for what he believed in, but it really was the newspaper writers who made him who he was. Now you have people writing comics about him, turning into movies. Super, famous because of his story, and other people can resonate with what he went through. Tyranny, the corporate structure, going against the big guy whenever you're just a small timer. People believe in that. So going back to my story, I was telling you, my dad was really resourceful. And so I'm not able to fix machines like he is, but I was able to take his resourcefulness and maybe position myself in the marketplace as an entrepreneur to get further in life. And I'm resourceful because I can draw on all those things that happened to me in my life and maybe help other people, which will actually take me to another level. I'm going to read you something from my book here. I'm getting text messages left and right. I'm sorry about that, guys. And I'm going to read you a little story here. And this is from my book called Dream Starter, The Startup Business Guide. You can actually get on my website at dreamstartersuniversity.com. And you can go on my Instagram Live. I read another story. But it says, run for it. A while back, I read a book about an American who was captured in Vietnam and held as a prisoner for over a year. He said the only way to survive was to keep your head down and your mouth shut. Every day could be my last one. He eventually broke free and was rescued. He said it really came down to one choice: to live a painful life, dying slowly with the hope of being set free in time, or risk death and try to escape on your own to freedom. He chose the latter. I discovered that the book was not just about being a prisoner of war. He related this book to what happens to people every day all around the world. Most people on earth go to a job that they hate every single day of their lives. They dream about starting their own businesses, but fear of the unknown scares them back to their warm, cozy, and secure comfort zones. In order to see the other side of life, you have to let go of that feeling of security and run for it. Go, baby, go. Run for it. And when you're writing your own story, I talk about writing your own book as a way to gain trust, get credibility, put yourself out there so other people can resonate with who you are. Maybe you don't have to write about your story as much as other people's stories. And that way, people who are reading your book find out what's important to you. And if they can find out what's important to you, then maybe by familiarity, they can start to learn to like you, learn to trust you, learn to find you interesting. And it all goes to show you that by telling stories, whether it's your story or somebody else's, is a bridge to more relationships. If you become a great storyteller, you can become a great communicator. And a great communicator is what makes a great leader. And that's what gets attention. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer them for you. My email is mfallat@dreamstarterspgh.com. and you can go on my website, get a free copy of the book. I can help you guys write and publish best-selling books. What we can do is two different options. Number one, the first option is you write it, we'll edit it, we'll market it, turn it into a bestseller through leverage, positioning, and timing. Or, what's up, Daniel? What's going on, man? Or we could do the ghostwriting option, where we interview you, you tell us your story. Our writers will turn your story into a book. That book will be edited, published, turned into a bestseller. We build a website for you, teach you how to market it, do stuff like this where you can give your book away for free. What's going on, buddy? And the key is to get your story out there, no matter how you do it. We found out that 85% of the people on this planet want to write a book. Most people never do. But 85% of the people who do start a book never finish it. And the reason why is because they get lost. It's hard. It's difficult. So what we try to do with Dream Starters is to take away that problem. There's a problem. People are afraid to tell their story. So what we'll do is we'll tell the story for them. So if you need us to do that, dreamstartersuniversity.com. My direct phone number is 412-496-9448. And, I started this company because in 2008, I screwed up a bunch of times creating a business. And the reason why I couldn't get out there or found by anybody is because I wasn't telling my story. Nobody knew who I was. I didn't come from wealth. I didn't come from resources. I didn't come from connections. Nobody could put me in the right rooms. So I had to create my own damn rooms to invite people to. And the way that I realized that I was able to get those speaking gigs, I was able to meet those right clients, I was able to build a connection with that person in Texas or that person in Vancouver, that person in California, was by giving them a little insight of who I was and what I offered. And that's what I try to do now, is just to help other people do the exact same thing. If you can help other people tell the story, it's just the same thing as being a great storyteller. If you guys have any questions, reach out to me. I'm going to be doing more Facebook Lives, and I hope I'm bringing you guys some value. But every day we bring you a little bit of either my book or my clients' books. So thanks, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. See you, Daniel.